America's rule book. Not just for lawyers. Let's face it, folks. The Constitution isn't just some dusty old document meant for lawyers and historians. The Constitution. That big important document gathering dust on your bookshelf, or more likely somewhere on the internet. It's not just a relic of the past, it's a living, breathing guide for how our country is supposed to operate. It's often treated like some sacred text only decipherable by guys in powdered wigs. Newsflash, it's not. You don't need a law degree or a time machine to understand it. Think of the Constitution as America's rule book. It's the foundation upon which our entire system of government is built. You wouldn't let a football team play without understanding the rules, would you? Just like in sports, knowing the rules is crucial for fair play and accountability. Then why on earth would we let the government operate without a firm grasp on its own rule book? The Constitution is there to ensure that everyone, from the president to the average citizen, knows the boundaries and responsibilities. Look, the founders weren't trying to create a secret society. They were visionaries who wanted to establish a transparent and just system. They wanted a nation ruled by laws, not by the whims of politicians. This means that the Constitution is designed to protect us from arbitrary decisions and ensure a stable governance. And for we the people to hold those politicians accountable, we need to understand the rules of the game. It's not just about knowing your rights, it's about knowing how the system works so you can be an informed and active participant. That's where the Constitution comes in. It's the ultimate guidebook for American society. It's not some arcane mystery. It's a document written by people who wanted to make sure that everyone could understand it. It's the blueprint for our freedom, written in plain, understandable English. The founders used clear language to ensure that the average person could grasp its principles. So, put on your reading glasses, grab a cup of coffee or tea if you're feeling British, and dive into this incredible document. Let's break down why understanding the Constitution is about as American as apple pie. It's a part of our national identity, and knowing it helps us appreciate the freedoms we often take for granted. Trust me, it's not rocket science. You don't need to be a genius to get the basics. Even a founding father could do it. They were ordinary people with extraordinary ideas. And if those guys in their powdered wigs could figure it out, so can you. So, let's take a closer look at this remarkable document and see how it continues to shape our lives today. The Constitution, as easy as pie or apple pie to be patriotic. Now, some folks will tell you the Constitution is some complicated, convoluted document only decipherable by legal scholars with years of experience and shelves full of law books. Don't believe the hype. The founders weren't writing for lawyers, they were writing for everyday Americans. Farmers, blacksmiths, the guy who makes your morning coffee, they all understood the Constitution. Think about it, the grocery list. You write one, I write one. Simple, right? Milk, eggs, bread, no need for a legal dictionary. The Constitution is basically the same thing, just a bit longer and with slightly higher stakes than forgetting the orange juice. It lays out the basic functions of government, what they can and can't do, and how they're supposed to do it. Sure, there's some fancy language in there, but at its core, the Constitution is about limiting government power and protecting individual liberty. Pretty straightforward, right? So the next time someone tries to tell you the Constitution is too complicated, just smile politely and hand them a copy of your grocery list. They'll definitely get the message. 3 pillars of constitutional wisdom. No, not those pillars. All right, patriots, let's talk about how to approach this whole Constitution thing. It's not like reading tea leaves or deciphering ancient hieroglyphics. We're talking about a document written in plain English, and understanding it comes down to 3 basic principles. These principles are straightforward yet profound, and they form the bedrock of our republic. First, the Constitution is a written document. Revolutionary, right? This might seem obvious, but it's crucial. The fact that it's written means that its words are fixed and can be referred to by anyone. It's not some mystical code that only a select few can interpret. It's accessible to all of us. We're not relying on whispers in the wind or vague interpretations passed down through generations. It's all there in black and white. This written nature ensures transparency and consistency. It means that anyone, regardless of their background, can read and understand the foundational laws of our land. Second, the authority of the Constitution comes directly from we the people. That's you, me, and your crazy uncle who thinks the government is run by lizard people. No judgment here. This principle is the essence of democracy. It means that the power of the government is derived from the consent of the governed. The government doesn't grant us rights, we grant the government its limited powers. This is a fundamental shift in perspective. Our rights are inherent, and the government's role is to protect those rights, not to bestow them upon us. This ensures that the government remains a servant of the people, not the other way around. And lastly, we need to interpret the Constitution based on what its authors actually meant, not on what we wish it meant or what some activist judge thinks it should mean. This principle helps maintain the integrity of the document. It prevents the Constitution from being twisted to fit contemporary agendas. Stick to these three principles and you'll be well on your way to becoming a constitutional scholar. Well, maybe not a scholar, but at least you'll be able to hold your own at a cocktail party or, a town hall meeting. Understanding these principles empowers you to engage in informed discussions about our nation's laws and governance. So, next time you're in a debate about constitutional issues, remember these pillars. They are your guideposts in navigating the complexities of constitutional law. They remind us that the Constitution is not just a historical document, but a living framework that continues to shape our society. The framers of the Constitution were visionaries. They crafted a document that has stood the test of time, adapting to changes while maintaining its core principles. By adhering to these three pillars, we honor their legacy and ensure that the Constitution remains a robust foundation for future generations. Originalism, the only game in town. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, originalism. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. In fact, it's quite fascinating once you get the hang of it. In a nutshell, originalism means interpreting the Constitution based on what its words meant to the people who wrote and ratified it. It's like stepping into a time machine and understanding the context and intentions of the founding fathers. Think of it like reading a recipe. You wouldn't add chili powder to your grandmother's famous apple pie just because you think it needs a little kick, would you? The recipe is a cherished tradition, passed down through generations, and altering it would change its essence. The Constitution is a recipe for a free society, and we need to follow the recipe as written. Just as a recipe ensures a delicious outcome when followed correctly, the Constitution ensures a stable and just society when its original meaning is respected. To do otherwise is to engage in judicial activism, where judges twist and contort the Constitution to fit their own personal agendas. This undermines the rule of law and erodes public trust in the judiciary. It's like going to a restaurant, ordering a burger, and getting a plate of tofu because the chef thinks you should be vegan. Not cool, right? You expect to get what you ordered, just as we expect the Constitution to be interpreted as it was intended. Originalism keeps the Constitution grounded in its original meaning, ensuring that it remains a timeless document rather than a plaything for activist judges with their own agendas. It provides a stable foundation for our legal system, preventing arbitrary changes that could lead to chaos and uncertainty. It's about respecting the will of the people who ratified it and ensuring that our government operates within its proper bounds. The Constitution is a social contract, and originalism honors that contract by adhering to the agreed-upon terms. After all, a Constitution that can mean anything means nothing at all. By sticking to originalism, we preserve the integrity and authority of the Constitution, ensuring that it continues to guide and protect us for generations to come. Originalism also fosters healthy debate and discussion. When we interpret the Constitution based on its original meaning, we engage in a collective effort to understand our history and the principles that shaped our nation. Imagine the founding fathers in their time, debating and crafting the Constitution with great care and thought. They were creating a framework for governance that would stand the test of time, and originalism honors their vision. By studying the historical context and the intentions behind the Constitution's provisions, we gain a deeper appreciation for its wisdom and foresight. This understanding helps us apply its principles to modern issues in a way that remains true to its original purpose. Originalism also promotes unity and common ground. When we adhere to a shared understanding of the Constitution, we create a foundation for constructive dialogue and cooperation, even when we have differing viewpoints. So the next time you hear the term originalism, remember that it's not just a legal theory. It's a commitment to preserving the legacy of our founding fathers, respecting the rule of law, and ensuring that the Constitution remains a guiding light for our nation. In conclusion, it's not hard to understand the original meaning of the Constitution. The Founding Fathers made quite a few speeches and wrote many letters and books where they let their original intent be known. The purpose of a written constitution is entirely defeated if, in interpreting it as a legal document, its provisions are manipulated and worked around so that the document means whatever the manipulators wish. Thomas Jefferson recognized this danger and spoke out constantly for careful adherence to the Constitution as written, with changes to be made by amendment, not by tortured and twisted interpretations of the text. Jefferson's wisdom reminds us that the Constitution might be a living document, but it should never be molded at will. It is the stable foundation upon which our nation stands. By respecting the original meaning, we honor the vision and foresight of the founders, ensuring that the principles they enshrined continue to guide us. So, the next time you hear about constitutional debates or judicial decisions, remember the importance of originalism. It's not just a method of interpretation. It's a commitment to preserving the integrity of our nation's most important legal document. After all, a constitution that can mean anything means nothing at all. By sticking to originalism, we preserve the integrity and authority of the Constitution, ensuring that it continues to guide and protect us for generations to come. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe for more insights into the foundational principles that shape our great nation.